We're following new developments in the case of a convicted killer trying to fight the death penalty. Michael Dean Gonzales, also known as Spider, was back in court today. He was convicted of killing an Odessa couple in a case that's now 30 years old. Spider was supposed to be executed in 2022, but was granted a stay of execution. News West 9's Marcus Risen was there for the evidentiary hearing. Marcus.
Yeah, Alex, famously known as Spider, Michael Gonzales was in court today for his evidentiary hearing. His co-counsel, Richard Burr, telling us that this all stems back to Spider's execution and seeing if Gonzales is even able to meet the guidelines of being in line for death row.
In 2022, the Court of Criminal Appeals sent this case back to Judge Schroed for him to consider two issues. One of them is whether he has intellectual disability, because if you do have intellectual disability, under Supreme Court decisions, you can no longer have a death sentence or be executed. And so that was the issue that's being talked about today.
Since today's evidentiary hearing was on the issue of whether Spider was intellectually disabled, surprisingly, both parties seem to agree.
And that our experts agreed, both experts, our experts and Michael Gonzales' experts, agreed that he is mildly intellectually disabled.
Generally, when there is a question of intellectual disability, the expert for the state and the expert for the defense disagree with each other. The defense expert says the person has intellectual disability. The state expert says no. In this case, rarely, as it's quite rare, the state expert agrees. The state's expert agrees that he does have intellectual disability. So there's really no dispute between the state and the defense on that issue.
Because of this, a dozen new pieces of evidence have been made available, including some expert reports. The defense has two of these reports. One is a professor from the University of Houston, Dr. Jack Fletcher, who is an internationally recognized expert on developmental issues in people. The other expert is a professor at Baylor Medical School named Adriana Strutt, who did the intellectual testing for Gonzales. The state's expert report is from Dr. Timothy Proctor.
He's been doing this work for several decades. He generally works as a state expert and generally agrees that with the state's position that on this issue that the person does not have intellectual disability. He did not do that here. He thoroughly evaluated Mr. Gonzales, talked to a lot of the other witnesses, and after that he decided he agreed with the defense experts.
Also being put into evidence are 9 affidavits, all from people who had meaningful relationship with Gonzales as he was growing up, including teachers and extended family members.
Those are the people who observed and had a lot of experiences with him about how he could not do things that most children can do.
And if Gonzales' death sentence is overturned, his life won't be cut short, but instead, he'll be spending the rest of his behind bars. Now, there's no date set yet for when Gonzales will return back to court after the evidence is evaluated.